right, the language is C++. This is a Codewars exercise, and it's called sum to length. Drum roll, please. Yeah. Or no, sum and length. I don't think I said that. Anyway, C++. I was in a trance, folks. I don't know. Sum and length. In this one, you're going to return a string value, where the first part of the sum, the first part is the sum of positive numbers, and the second part is the number of negative numbers. Knowing that the first 0 is negative, second is positive, third is negative, and so on. Little explanation is in order here. So we're going to return a string where one part of it will be the sum of all the positive numbers. Second part is the number of negative numbers. Important, not the sum, the number, like the count of negative numbers. So we got a sum and a number, a count. That accounts for the two numbers. And then there's a special rule of 0 here. And yeah, not really explained well, but it's kind of par for the course with a lot of these. It's kind of the way it is, but we need to rely on our guile to figure things out. So first O is negative, second is positive, third is negative, and so on. So the O's or the zeros really go to the count of negative. For the sum of positive, they don't mean anything, because plus 0 doesn't mean anything, but they count as a negative number. So I didn't really explain it before I got into this. The polarity of 0 alternates. The positivity or negativity of 0 alternates. So it begins as a negative, so it counts with the number of negatives. Then the second time 0 appears, if it does, it's positive, so it will go into the sum, and then it flips back to negative. So its type of value changes. I don't kind of know what the term is there, but it don't matter. Y'all know what I mean. And if you don't, so what? All right. Looking at here, in C++, you're going to get a vector of integers. There's your vector, and then return 10 space 5, because you add the positive numbers and you get the number of negative numbers. 3 is one, 2 is another, and the second 0 is another one. That's where the 0 comes into play. The second 0 is counted as a negative. All right, let's get in here and do this. My intros, I think, take a little too long. I'm watching myself here. All right. I think I say all right too much. I'm going to be getting a sum of the positives and the count of the negatives, so I'm going to create variables for each. Perhaps those numbers are these variables are self-explanatory, or the variable names. I'll get it out eventually, folks. Okay. And because the zeros will alternate, and I think the word is polarity, they're going to change negative to negative in an alternating fashion. A boolean variable is very natural for this idea. And I'm going to start it out as false because the zeros are, they start as negative, I believe, first. So, all right, now for the fun, I'm going to loop through my vector using size t, as it is an unsigned integer typically used for looping iteration scenarios in Pewter. That's what happens when you talk while you're typing. The name of the vector is input, as you see up here in the header. All right, so as I loop through this vector, I'm going to get a sum of the positives, a count of the negatives, and if 0 is a negative, I'm going to add it to the count. of negatives. All right, if this element is greater than 0, means it's positive, I will add it to my sum of the positives. So yeah, I've got to add the value to my sum. That's how you do summing, of course. Do an else if the input is less than 0, meaning it is negative. I will increase my count of negative numbers. Let's go plus 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 1. Else we got a 0, and in the case of a 0, I will well, actually, I got to check the zero's polarity. I hope that's the right word, because I'm locked into that one for this one. So if the 0 is false, I'm going to say it's a negative, and what I will do is count negative, because I'm going to add to the count of zeros. And if it's a positive, I'm not doing anything. But every time I encounter a 0, I'm going to change, I'm going to flip the boolean value. And yeah, if you don't know, if you want to just, with the boolean value, change true to false, false to true, whatever it comes in as, it'll come out as the reverse. This is your notation for that. Variable equals not variable. 0 equals not 0. Alrighty. Now once we got that stuff done, we can then return the string, because I have a count. I have both of my counts all good. Now I'm going to take those counts, put them into a string, return that sucker. So create a standard string, the beautiful prefix, and actually, let's do this. That's not right. This is a function or a method. Not even sure what to call it in this context. Our C++ functions that are in that are members of objects, are they called methods or functions? I know the answer in Java, but I forget in C++. They might be member functions. All right, so I'm going to convert the sum to a string, concatenate a space, then convert the count of the negatives to a string using the handy toString function. Yeah. Let's run it. Pass. Impressive. Passes. Let's take a look. Whoa, those are the tests. Don't want to look at that. Don't want to look at that again. Screwed that up. There's your code, my friends. Sum and length, I think it is. Codewars, C++. I'm out.